Welcome to Relationship Growth, the podcast that teaches you the skills to keep a healthy relationship. Finding love is one thing, keeping it alive is another. Whether you want to bring the spark back or you're looking for that partner you can build a lifelong bond with, this show is for you. Here you'll learn to communicate the real thing, lead your relationship, and build long-term love without losing your identity or independence. I'm your host, Lilly Rachels, and I'll show you how to create a relationship you don't just stay in, you grow in.
Welcome back to Relationship Growth. Today, I want to share with you why relationships are so important to me and why I'm so passionate about this work and a little bit of my own story. So I got married young at the age of 23. And going into that marriage, I didn't have a lot of relationship skills. Now, I would say I was a loving person. I was a kind person, but I was terrified of conflict. And I was very, very avoidant of conflict. And if conflict did happen, I was hardcore in the fawn response. And the fawn response in your nervous system is where you people please and you try to appease everyone and just make it better. And this does not do well in relationships. In fact, you can become a very codependent person in a relationship when you are constantly fawning. And because of how I grew up and what I witnessed conflict to be, I really struggled with voicing my needs and voicing my desires in a relationship. I also really struggled with other people's emotions when they looked like anger. I didn't have a very big capacity to sit with anger, to sit with those emotions. And while I won't share his story, my former spouse came in with his own ideas of relationship and his own traumas and family situations that had happened to him. And together, these two kids didn't really have a clue how to nurture a connection and make it grow. Now, all of this ended in a divorce 5 years later. And while I won't go into the details of my divorce, at least not on this podcast, I am very thankful that we have since then built a kind, respectful relationship with each other. But as I was going through that divorce, I realized that I had a lot of work to do on myself because there was a lot of baggage I was carrying from things that had happened when I was a kid and from the example of love that I had gotten in my own home and my friends' homes that I was really close to watching their parents that were not good. They were not healthy. I wasn't taught how to heal conflict with another person. Like, what do you do when there's a rupture? What do you do when you're feeling really overwhelmed and really anxious? How do you respond instead of react? So I started scouring the internet, and that dates me a little bit, right? I found blogs, I found YouTube channels, no podcasts yet, and some books that started to help me heal. And I remember reading the blogs in particular and finding so much comfort in people's personal stories because it gave me hope that love was possible, that relationships were possible. And it wasn't until I started really doing the work and I started looking at my own life and getting curious about what am I carrying into relationships when I go into them? What fears, what core wounds, what limiting beliefs are affecting how I show up with another person and the capacity I have to be with discomfort? And also, what are the things that are keeping me from really receiving love? And that was a huge one for me. See, when I was little, I associated love with something that you earned. I thought that if I did the dishes, if I surprised my mom by finishing the laundry, I noticed I got more affection and more attention. So my little brain said, you know what? If you try hard enough, someone will love you. And when I took that blueprint to my marriage, my former marriage, and I would try to, get everything done around the house, make the coffee before he leaves and do, I would get so frustrated when I wasn't receiving the love that I wanted. Now, what I didn't know then that I know now is, for one, I can't earn that love. Love must be freely given. And two, I didn't have the capacity to receive love because I didn't truly feel safe doing so. I was in such an activated place in my nervous system. I was so filled with anxiety on a daily basis that I wasn't even in a place where I could truly enjoy that warm, loving connection had it been offered. And so I'm really passionate about helping people with this work because this is what saved me, was learning to not just regulate my nervous system, but be able to experience safety and it feel good and be in activation, be in uncomfortable moments, have hard conversations with my partner and not feel completely flooded and overwhelmed. And learned that in a relationship that's healthy, disagreement doesn't mean that love leaves the room. Disagreement just means you have something to work through. And I started to see relationships less as this destination, this thing that we achieved, and more of this journey that we go on with another person, because we want them to be a witness to our lives and us to theirs. And so as I stepped into the therapy world and then ultimately the coaching world, I got really passionate, particularly about romantic relationships, because I've yet to find another vehicle in life that can bring as much growth as a romantic partner. Because it's like they hold up this mirror so that we can see all of our growth edges, all of the places where we haven't healed, where those wounds are still very easily triggered, and give us a potential to grow. And for me, that's what relationships are about. I want to grow. I want to learn more, not just about myself, but about another person. And I want to increase my capacity to give and receive love. So that's a little bit of my story and why I am so passionate about relationships. And I'm so excited to help you on your journey to pursuing long-term love. And I want you to know I'm not perfect. My relationship is not perfect. My partner and I get frustrated at each other. Sometimes we have fights. Sometimes I say things that I then need to apologize for. But the goal is not perfection. The goal is growth. The goal is building a life together that we want to come home to, and knowing that pressure and stress is going to happen. Sometimes there will be things out of your control, even if you're highly compatible, that will happen in your relationship that will test you. And that's life. And there's nothing sweeter than weathering the storm with someone and coming out stronger on the other side. And I'm so excited to help you do that with this podcast and with the resources that I have for you. And if you are into growth, if you are into long-term love, you're in the right place. And I can't wait to get started.
Thank you for listening to Relationship Growth. If you enjoyed this episode and you're a fan of the show, please subscribe and leave us a review. If you'd like to connect, you can join me over on Substack or follow me on Instagram @LillyRachels. Let's build love that grows.